Hey everybody, this is Alzorath, and welcome back to Diablo 2, another build video to be enjoyed. Hopefully it's enjoyed. If you guys are looking for the Ice Phoenix, you came to the wrong place. The Ice Phoenix is one video over. But this one is just the ice side of that, with a little bit of physical love thrown in there. You can kind of see us killing Diablo in the background to mix things up. Also, it's easier to kill Diablo than it is to kill Baal with this character, but both are just fine. It's easy to kind of like nuke everything with it because it's very good at AoE, kind of mediocre at the single targeting stuff. Diablo, as usual, does take a little bit longer than Baal, so we may have either sped it up or possibly it could still be going right now. We don't know. But this build is based around the use of the, Freezing Arrow. I always mix up their names. There's Freezing Arrow, there is, let's go ahead and actually look while you guys are watching that. Freezing, Ice, and Cold Arrows are the three cold arrows that you actually kind of go with, and I always get their names mixed up. It's just like the armors for the Alzorath there. But yeah, she is a fairly solid build. This is kind of one that was brought more to light by a few other YouTubers. If I remember to link it down below, I'll link you guys to another video on this build that was made by another really good YouTuber that I occasionally watch. They've kind of like fallen off the edge of the planet, but they're still good to watch. But anyway, this build has kind of expensive gear for the bows. There are alternatives that are fairly nice, so it can do some work even if you don't have the most expensive gear. It's just, whenever it comes to the elemental arrows, generally to make them exceptionally effective, you're going to have to invest a lot of resources. Whereas the physical arrows, you just need a good strong bow. And a fast one. You really want a fast bow with pretty much every physical damage bow Amazon out there. So anyway, we're into the actual build now. So as far as stats go, I get enough strength and dexterity to equip everything that I'm going to be using, which includes both bows. It's just strength, dexterity. We have vitality chilling down here for a little bit of a life, and no points into energy. That is going to be kind of a theme. If you guys haven't noticed yet, almost every build I do, except for the Warcry Barbarian, has no points in energy. There are a few other builds that do dump into energy a little bit, and it's usually a ratio of like 2 vitality for 1 energy. So that's usually the ratio. Sometimes it's 3 and 2. So anyway, that's the stats. Fairly straightforward. You'll notice our stuff chilling up there. And yes, we do use Magic Arrow, because Magic Arrow is amazing. I love Magic Arrow. Kiss my ass if you don't. So anyway, as far as skills, none in Javelin and Spear. That should be fairly obvious. Passive skills, I've just been dumping into Critical Strike because we're physical / ice, but generally you want to do your 1-point wonders all through here, and I do recommend maxing out Valkyrie just for the big tanky beast between you and the enemies. Womp, there she is. And yeah, she's just a beast. She's tanky. She summons in with random equipment, so you can end up with one with really insane resistances and all that kind of stuff if you're lucky on the armor. The current one, it looks like it has thorns or godly armor on, so not as great. So it's got the yellow tint on it. You can tell by looking at it what it has. As far as the other skills in here, you definitely want to get Pierce up to over 60%. We're currently at 69%. The gear we have will cover the other 30%, well, 33% of it. So anything over 66 is good. Depending on which skill we have, it goes up fairly high. I kind of over-invested in it because I was contemplating other gear options. As far as Critical Strike, this is an optional. It basically doubles your damage randomly. We have some Critical Strike chance. It does not stack with Equipment Critical Chance. So, yeah, don't invest in this if you're not going to be able to do that. But it also helps your Valkyrie too, if you're relying on it for a little bit of damage. There really isn't much else to invest in this other than maybe freeze duration, because the other skills we have, no, we're not going down to strafe. That'll be waiting for the physical Amazon. But we have Magic Arrow up until it's free, so invest points until it's free. Plus skills can push it up higher. Generally speaking, you just want it to be free whenever you're fully equipped. That gives you an ability to fight even if you run out of arrows. If you're running a dual bow setup like I'm currently here, you can also do Call to Arms on the alt and a shield and just go straight ice with multi-shot backup if you want to. It's just one of those things that you have to make the decision yourself. I run dual bow because I'm comfortable with my amount of life. And this is PvE, not PvP, so I don't need to worry about super min-maxing. I went with max multiple shot, so I can just do some spray and pray if I need to in certain situations, and it works well with my alt bow. So, yeah, this just casts a bunch of stuff out. You can go strafe. It is near enough on this street because you're going to be going down ice anyway, so you're going to have the prereqs. So you can come down here, you can get Guided Arrow, or you can get Strafe. Guided Arrow is better versus bosses. Strafe is better versus, like, boss mobs and stuff like that. And multi-shot is better for just, like, sweeping your way through an area. And generally speaking, whenever I'm doing Magic Find and stuff like that, I'm sweeping my way through areas rather than going after bosses. Bosses are great drops for very specific things. For finding most of your gear, if you're already in Hell difficulty and you're doing Magic Find runs, Ancient Tunnels, the Pits, any level 85 area is going to be a solid one to go to. There's a whole list of them on the wiki, and I'll probably be doing a Magic Find video eventually. So as far as the actual, like, theme of this build, we are going cold! You may notice one of our cold skills is not maxed. That's because it's a crappy synergy. We're going Freezing Arrow, which is going to be doing a decent few thousand damage. And let's go ahead and switch over to this one. It does even more thousands of damage. It just is a little bit more. And it freezes for 2 seconds because we didn't invest in Ice Arrow. And I'll tell you why we didn't do that in a minute. But Freezing Arrow, you get the synergy for Cold Arrow for cold damage. So that's 40 points right there. And you have a lot of points to kind of spread around and kind of mess around with a lot of things. That's one reason why the Ice Phoenix worked so well, because we were able to invest the rest of that in the other half of the tree. It did get us a little bit tight on points, but it was kind of fun. So Ice Arrow itself, it gets a synergy with this, but it's 5% freeze length per level. That means you can only double the freeze length up to 4 seconds, which makes it kind of bad. So, yeah, you're not going to be freezing a whole lot with this. It does help. It does freeze them for a little bit, but honestly, I don't feel that 20 points invested, well, 19, because you do have the prereq requirement, is really worth it in this case. So I'd rather go for another skill to support, or for Valkyrie, or anything like that. You could even go like a hybrid bow javelin if you wanted to. But which is a Fishy Mancer. But anyway, Freezing Arrow, just a lot of damage. Decent AoE. It's 3.3 yards, so if your enemies are lined up, it just explodes through them. And since we have 100% Pierce, guess what? We have a lot of explosions, so you'll hit things multiple times. Now, as far as the gear, we have Chains of Honor. Woo! We have War Travelers. Woo! This is just +2 skills. And resistances. We need the resistances. We're already hurting on them. Our main threats are things like Gloams and stuff like that hit us from a distance with elemental damage. Physical damage enemies, they're few and far between. We can dodge most of them because their attacks are slower. So, like, the orbs from the Succubi and stuff like that are really easy to dodge. War Travelers, we've got Vitality and Strength coming on there. There really aren't ideal boots for this. You could go a little bit of Crushing Blow with Gore Riders. If you want that little bit of extra punch, it is worth noting that Crushing Blow does have reduced efficacy with a ranged attack, so you're not going to be able to, like, rip through things super easily with that. It's not going to chunk their life off like it does with Zealots. As far as the ring, we've got our, like, passed around to high hell dual leech ring, the Doom Loop. So it just gets thrown around to left and right, and center, and everywhere else, because it's got resists and dual leech. You do want to try to aim for at least some mana leech with this. Life leech is not entirely optional, but it isn't necessary. You can heal through most of the problems that you're going to run into, although life leech does help out a ton, especially if you're using multi-shot. We've got our Razor's Tail for the 33% Pierce. It's invisible, but it's 33% Pierce. Just trust me on that. A little bit of extra dexterity to get us up to requirements for our gear. And yeah, it's pretty solid there. Just a good belt for anything that's going to be using ranged or bows or anything like that. We have the Raven Frost for Cannot Be Frozen. We have a 20% increased attack speed gloves. They're bow crossbow ones. Not the best ever. I would rather have resistances on it. I'd rather have it be in a lighter freaking pair of gloves, but this is what we have, so this is what we use. You could use Laying of Hands if you're looking for a cheap option, or Lava Gout. Both are good options for increased attack speed. Laying of Hands will help you if you're going after bosses, because every act boss is a demon, so that is amazing. And there's actually a decent number of regular enemies that are demons as well, just because this is Diablo. So Laying of Hands is usually preferred. Lava Gout is good for enchant, which gives you better attack rating. It's worth noting, if you're going for bosses, go for the Guided Arrow instead of multi-shot, and use the Laying of Hands for the boosted damage, especially on your physical side. We do okay physical damage, but not amazing. Amulet, we have increased attack speed and +1 all skills through High Lords. It's kind of like a standard for me to use whenever I need increased attack speed. I just throw High Lords on, and it's set. We don't really need the plus skills, but they're nice. They help boost the ice damage. The main thing that helps boost the ice damage is Nightwing's Veil, which is +2 all skills, and it boosts cold skill damage, which is nice. You can throw an ice rainbow facet in here if you want. I personally have not yet because, well, that involves investing resources in it. And this is not a build I play that often. Usually I'm running the dual elemental, the fire ice version of this, but this was an important one to cover because this one's oddly enough really sought after. So I figured, yeah, Frostmaiden, we should probably show on the Nightwing's Veil. Now, as far as weapons, personally, I'm using Faith and Ice as far as the rune words for this one. You may recognize these from that one from the multi-shot video and this one from the Ice Phoenix video. And this is basically a hybrid of the Ice and multi-shot, so it makes sense. This one has Holy Freeze Aura, so it adds a little bit of ice damage to your attack. It slows enemies nearby. Does not matter. It doesn't matter if they are immune to cold or not. It will slow them down. That is a very powerful thing, and it does keep us from having to use a Holy Freeze Mercenary. We're actually using a Might Mercenary right now, because it makes him even stronger. Yeah, he wrecks things himself. He's his own man. But we also have +3 bow and crossbow skills because I put this into a matriarchal bow. So that is, you may notice that I have a specific set just for Amazons that I put into matron and matriarchal bows as I get moving through stuff. And I save those up like a crazy man. As soon as I find them, they get shuffled away into my storage. So they're definitely good things to watch out for if you find just a normal white one that you can socket through Larzuk or through the cube. Definitely want to keep them around so you can actually roll them and try to get some really good Amazon bows. So, and yes, I said bow. And Ignore Target Defense is nice. This one's a superior one that I found. You can tell by the +1 attack rating. Woo! That's helping out a bunch. It's got a little bit of extra skill damage. -20% enemy cold resist. This does work pretty solidly. And you could do an infinity on your mercenary and break cold immunes. And it's worth noting that you're only going to be able to break maybe like half of them, maybe a little bit more, of the cold immunes in the game, because a lot of them have that over the breakable amount. It's similar to fire immunes, where fire immunes are not going to be easy to break even with a conviction mercenary. The only elements that are really easy to kind of break are going to be lightning immunes. The rest of them, it's about a half and half. Half are going to be over that mark, and half of them are going to be beneath it. That goes for poison, which you'd only be able to do with lower resist. That goes with fire, which you can do with conviction or lower resist. And cold, which you can do with conviction or lower resist. So, yeah, do keep that in mind. This does have Deadly Strike on it, so it kind of is redundant with our skill that we invested into for Critical Strike, because you can only get one of those triggering at a time. So you can only double your damage once. I'm sorry, folks. It doesn't stack in a way that would make it kind of hilarious. We do have a 25% chance of Frost Nova as well. So you'll see that kind of go off whenever we're shooting ice arrows at things. And it does work pretty well. It combines with our already present Ice Blast, and you'll actually just have shockwaves and explosions of ice coming all around. And it hits. It hurts. It does damage, and it slows enemies down that aren't cold immune. So, yeah, and the Holy Freeze slows down the ones that are. Now, as far as the Faith, why we have this is because we have the physical side. This is our answer to cold immunes. So the physical side, we do run into problems when we run into into physical cold dual immunes, but those are super uncommon. Like really, really uncommon. I would honestly say I run into them less than most other physical elemental combos. So I run into physical lightning immunes a lot, and physical fire immunes a lot. I would say physical cold is about on par with physical poison as far as immunities go. So, at least in my experience, it's conjecture. But Fanaticism's also nice because we have it in a +3 Grand Matron bow. Which is super, super hard to find. If you find a +2, it will work just fine. I generally avoid it in +1s because at that point you're going to probably be better off with a diamond bow, which you can pass around to your other characters. Only use expensive stuff in your most premium of things that you find. So, do keep that in mind. I don't even remember where I found this one. It was like I want to say it was in Act 5 Hell, but it's been a while. So it has level 12 fanaticism aura, it has +2 all skills, +3 bow crossbow skills from the bow itself, and ITD is very nice, ignore target defense, and it has a bit of enhanced damage. You can see that it does a significant bit more damage than the ice bow, and it's got resistances and all that kind of fun stuff. And the animated is returning is semi-useful as well, because it gives you extra dudes out on the field. So that is pretty much this build. Pretty solid. As far as the inventory, I just have it with attack rating charms so I can hit more. I didn't even bother swapping over like any Fletcher's charms or anything like that. So let's go ahead and we will kill the things at the top of the hill as usual. And I figured I'd mix it up at the beginning just to show off the... And here's where we have this multi-shot coming into play because these guys are cold immune. So we're going to see... Yeah, we're going to swap over to our actual fanaticism thing. And you can see with the fanaticism one, it just rips through them like crazy. With the cold one, not so much. So... And we do have to identify that later. Because we're seeing if we can repeat our luck with the poison heads. So, yeah. And as far as the non-cold immunes... Oh, we going to get all cold immunes up here? Seriously? I think we are. I think we are literally going to get all cold immunes. Oh, nope, those are immune to... Yeah, let's go ahead and swap over to ice. And I actually forgot that was on... There we go. Now we have it on there. So, multi-shot, yeah... It's there. We need to find a non-cold immune to kill. Just so I can show that off. Here we are. Boom. Oh, come on. Stop dying before I can get to you. They're all just getting murdered too fast. I know. It's an unfortunate reality. Things are dying too fast. Let's go ahead and full rejuve up. I'll hop somewhere. Let's see, where do we not have cold immunes? Let's go to River of Flame. We do have cold immunes down here, but we can hopefully not have them right here at the entrance. Watch us get flesh spawners. Okay, so we don't have cold immunes. You can see, against non-cold immunes, it does wreck face. So, and yeah, these guys are extra tanky. So, even at being extra tanky, they get ripped to pieces by that. So, yeah, it's just a lovely little bit of kit that does its thing. And uses a helmet that a lot of people ignore. This helmet is not exceptionally loved. So, yeah, use it. Try it. See how it does for you. And... It's a little bit hard to find. It's a 1-in-1 split between this and the other Spired helmet. So half the Spired helmets you find are not going to be this. With my luck, I found 4 of the other one before I found this one. So, yeah. I was looking for it for a while. But, yeah. That's going to probably be the end of this episode. So for those of you on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And for those of you on Twitch, if you have any questions, I will answer them after the video ends. Or if they're super pertinent, I'll put them in as a summary to this, as like a little appendage to the end of this. So keep gaming, have fun, peace out, this has been Alzorath, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.